flooding in Louisiana has sparked the biggest disaster response in the U.S. since Hurricane Sandy. 7 deaths, more than 11,000 people are homeless, and much of the southern portion of the state is under a flood warning.
Did you see the last episode? I was in Ecuador with the natural disaster relief organization All Hands Volunteers, building bamboo houses for families who were left homeless after the earthquake. The journey continues as I leave Ecuador to see a whole different All Hands volunteer project. My next flight is at 1 a.m. and then I have another flight after that to New Orleans. Into New Orleans, and I'm pretty tired. Here they're helping people who lost everything in the recent flood that hit Louisiana and damaged over 60,000 homes. Many of these families unfortunately live outside the area that is covered for flood insurance.
My entire life that I worked my entire life for just washed away.
It's like the end of your life, end of your world, you know, having to start over like that.
I keep thinking, imagine you're one of those 60,000 homeowners. You have the heartache of seeing everything you own go underwater, and then realizing that you're vulnerable, alone. No one's coming to help you because everyone in your town is in trouble. No one is going to reimburse you, so if you can't afford to rebuild your home, you're living in a house that is contaminated by mold or sewage, and it's risking your family's health. And then can you imagine looking outside and you see these people walk towards you in blue t-shirts and they say, "We're here to help you." They don't know you, they're not neighbors, they're not paid, they may not even speak your language, but they're going to work every day to take care of you and give you safety, support, and hope.
I went through Katrina, and I remember the blue shirts walking up the street and giving us a hand, and I swore that I would do something. The whole house was leveled. Two-story home, the whole cul-de-sac. 5 people died in the cul-de-sac. It was pretty bad, it was pretty rough. And they came and helped us out. I mean, they come walking up the street. They came in and helped us actually cut 3 houses up in our backyard. I can't remember that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I swore that I would come and help them again, and that's why I'm here. It's taken me a long time to get here, but yeah, at least I tried.
Just found out that the woman who owns this home, she has lung cancer, and so she's living with all this mold and everything, which is just really, really awful for her health. And it's amazing. You just go in and just get to work, like literally within 30 seconds of getting out of the van, and look, everyone's just getting into it. Such a lovely bunch of people, so cheerful, and they've been here for months.
People always think that something really bad has had to have happened in order for you to do this, you know, whether it's a breakup, divorce, you went to jail, something crazy, you know, and people are like, oh, you lost your way, you just need to find yourself again. It's not about that. Just want to help people and make an impact somehow, you know.
Michelle has been living and working full-time on All Hands projects for almost 3 years.
My parents felt that we immigrated to the US so you could have a better life, so you could be highly educated. Yeah. And then when I left and told them, listen, I've quit my job and I'm going to the Philippines to volunteer, they're very much like, why would you do this? You know, for them it was like a slap in the face, all the sacrifices that they had made, you know, all throughout my childhood in order to make it to the US.
Kneeling on the ground, trying to get out mold beside a guy who looked like he was about 70 or something, and you know, he's from like Texas and I'm from Australia. We have totally different lives, but I'm just like looking there at him and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so cool, because we have this fundamental thing in common, you know, and you know that before you even ask someone's name, before you even say like, where are you from?
When I got here, I remember there was one day when I started working for All Hands, and I remember walking down the corridor of one of the bases with all the volunteers, and I suddenly realized that the reason I loved the place, the community, the group of people I was working with was suddenly I didn't feel alone.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a room full of people who were all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And at some point in my life before that point, I was definitely thinking, I am a lone ranger trying to pursue some goal that no one else in my country wants.
Yeah.
That's the only organization I know where the CEO will come in and sleep on an air mattress with everybody down here and get his hands dirty with everybody else and make sure everybody's good. And
Really?
They will make sure you're okay before they're okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Amazing people, amazing times. I'm not going anywhere. You have to drag me away.
I remember one person very in particular because he was 75 years old and he worked as hard as any of us in his house. It was just so amazing to see, and then he also told us about they just lost everything in one night.
Taught me so much about myself, how to live a more simple life. Not wanting so much materialistic stuff that I always thought I needed. Yeah, I tried to come back after the Philippines, go back to my old life, and it just didn't work. I couldn't do it anymore because I had seen this other way to live. It really matters. It's much more meaningful. So I can give up having a nice apartment, having a nice paycheck. I don't know, I'm just really lucky. I feel like I'm living a really beautiful life.
The All Hands volunteers are sleeping in one big room in a church, using portaloos, doing work like removing insulation from walls that is covered in hazardous mold spores. And they're doing this why? Because there are people out there who care. Not just about their family, their nation, people who look and sound and think the same way they do. There are people like these All Hands volunteers who see a fellow human being in trouble, and that's all that matters. On my last day before flying back to Europe, I went to check out New Orleans, and the guy driving the cab was called Wiley. I told Wiley what I'd been doing and how the woman whose house I was working on had lung cancer and was short on money. And you know what he said to me? And this was before I started filming. He said, "If you could put me in contact, I'd love to get her a Christmas tree and some presents. I'd love to do that with my daughters." Turns out that Wiley was sent to jail when he was 18, and it was all just for hanging out with the wrong crowd. So for most people, that could be enough reason to be angry with the world, to think that you only want to look out for yourself and no one else. But his philosophy is the exact opposite.
And that's what I'm trying to teach my kids, just because you don't like something, you still respect it. And just to have somebody come help out with anything, it just makes it a little bit better, for that family, and just to see the smiles on people's face. You can't take nothing for granted. Just to wake up, see the kids' face, to see my wife's face. Yeah. Brace yourself for that second. Yeah. To be like, man, just look at my family. This is my family. My dad, he was always like that. On holidays when we together, man, we'll both sit back and just look at the family. Just now we got babies and grandbabies. He just, man, he'll sit back and you can see a little tear come from his eye sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, man, what's wrong with you? Man, no, something got in my eye. Nah, ain't nothing getting in your eye. You over there crying. So.
No, that's beautiful. My father is the same.
See, that's what I'm saying. I get some guys getting here and look at me. Sometimes they size up and sit down. You ain't gotta size up, man. I'm a big teddy bear. I'm not gonna do nothing to you.
And so after everyone I met in Ecuador and all that I experienced in Louisiana, I sat on that plane home thinking, there really is just so much kindness out there. If you enjoyed this story, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and look, I wasn't solicited or paid by All Hands volunteers for this video, but if you want to donate or volunteer with them, go to hands.org for all the information.